All right. It seems we're live and we're just getting used to this new system, probably as you as well, because we're online. Not a big surprise for the most of you. It's been like this, I guess, for the bigger part of the year. So we couldn't just do anything else than go online, but it offers us a great opportunity for me to meet you while you're being maybe even a couple of time zones away. I was just checking the chat and I saw people joining us from Louisville, Texas. John, good to have you with us here. I saw Tuna Shri from the Lake District. Good morning from Esther from Utrecht. Mina Kochaman from Zagreb. We're getting together all these young professionals, you today, for the SDG Ambition for Young Professionals program. My name is Lars Sørensen, and I have the honor and privilege of being your host today. I've been committed and working with the SDG since 2015. Then I founded something that's called the SDG Supporters Club, which does pretty much nothing more than just connecting people that are working on the SDGs. I'm a host, MC, whatever you like to call it, and it's my job to make sure that we have a nice program flow today. So we have a bit busy schedule. I'm going to try to get the most out of this morning program. Well, morning, depending on in which time zone you are. And I'm sure that you're enthusiastic to be with us as well. We can interact with each other during the program in the chat. Please keep it social there. Keep it young professional there. Try to just empower each other. We don't need any harsh discussions through the Hopin platform. You always have the chance to just network and find each other a little bit later if you really want to go into depth with your discussions. So just a couple of more names just to make sure that you see we're also looking in the chat. I want to say good morning from South Africa to Raye San. Good to have you with us. And also we just have people from Delft. This is nice. We have a lot of people from the Netherlands. This is also where I'm based. And our next guest, our first guest, the one I will be opening this event with is calling in from Copenhagen. Ole Lund Hansen, good morning. Hi. Great to have you with us. You're the Chief Global Operations at United Nations Global Compact, which is a mouthful. So could you explain us what it is that you do at the United Nations Global Compact?
Yes, thank you so much, Lars. And good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone. I'm really pleased and excited to be able to join you here for this opening of this exciting event. Yeah, so I join you on behalf of the United Nations Global Compact. So what's that? It's part of the United Nations, but what we do is really work with businesses around the world to find solutions, to scale solutions to sustainable development. So we're what we call the largest initiative on business and sustainability, on corporate sustainability. We have 13,000 companies from, I think, around 160 countries that have joined the Global Compact, that have some level of commitment to sustainability and that we're working with. So I guess we like to say we have one leg in the United Nations. We have one leg in the private sector, and we really try to bring the best of those two worlds together.
So in your opinion, how important are young professionals in this? I work with a lot of different companies. Obviously, I also see the, how do you call them? The old professionals or the experienced professionals. I meet a lot of them that are working really hard on all these initiatives for the SDGs. But then when I meet young professionals, there are always so many creative ideas. So my personal conviction would be that they are very important, but I'm just curious about your opinion on that.
Yeah, no, I'm personally very passionate about bringing young professionals into this world, into the Global Compact as well. We've launched a couple of new programs really specifically with a view to empower and educate young professionals, to try to give them, also those young professionals who work in global compact companies, to give them a stronger platform, to give them an opportunity to demonstrate leadership, even if they're early in their career, and even if they maybe normally in their day-to-day jobs do not yet have the opportunity to shape strategies and business models. And yeah, this is obviously critical. I guess, first of all, as I think everyone would be aware, we have these wonderful sustainable development goals that has really spurred a lot of action and given direction to what a lot of people are doing. But when we look at the stats, 2020 or even before the pandemic hit, we could see very clearly that we were not on track to meet the majority of those goals. Obviously, climate change, we're heading for at least a 3.5 degree trajectory rather than the 1.5 that global leaders has committed to and that we need. We still have millions, I think around 150 million children in child labor. It feels like something that a business started to tackle many, many years ago, but it's still a very prevalent problem. We have a focus on gender equality, but at the current pace of change, it'll still take more than 200 years to close the gender gap. So, that tells us a couple of things, right? It tells us, first of all, that we need business, to help deliver solutions, the kind of scale that is required, the technologies, etc. But it's also very clear that we don't need business as usual. And I think that's where young people really come in. We know for sure, right, that I'm sure a lot of people joining today, and definitely young people and young professionals on average, they have a very strong dedication and passion for sustainability. And then they, by definition, almost bring a new perspective to things. And when they enter business, they bring a new perspective to business. So that passion and that new perspective, I think that's really the two key ingredients for innovation, and therefore two key ingredients that we need in order to make progress.
Sounds to me like what the old professionals, like I called them, let's keep that term, the experienced professionals, the one thing they just shouldn't do is get in the way of the young professionals with the new ideas, especially as we come to a conclusion that we really need to speed up. We need to accelerate if we want to reach the goals for 2030, and we need more innovative ideas. I guess was it Einstein who said that if you just try to do it the same way over and over, that you're insane. So I guess we need the new innovative ideas to make sure that we get up to speed. So today we have 700 people registering from over the entire world. Which I guess must be a nice thing for you to hear as well, that you see where so many young people are excited and engaged to come into action for the goals. And so I'm just to come to a conclusion, looking for maybe, do you have a final tip or something that you would like to give them before we dive into the program?
Again, moving in, I guess, to the older generation, I don't know if I can give advice on how you bring that passion to life. But I do know that, one thing that I would like to just briefly highlight also, because I think it's at the center for today's event, is really that need for greater ambition that is really critical, right? So again, I mentioned some of the statistics. We all know that much more is needed, and I think it speaks to what you call the old generation of leaders. I think it's not that everything that they're doing is bad. In fact, we have seen lots of great progress. You see, almost all of the companies in the Global Compact and beyond the Global Compact, they're taking action. The problem is not that action isn't great, that there aren't a lot of wonderful projects, lots of leading companies moving in the right direction. The problem is really right now, when we add all of that up, it's not enough, right? So I think as when you as young professionals, start thinking about and start hopefully taking also action within companies or other organizations. I would love to keep this idea of ambition in mind. I'd love that you bring that into your own roles as young professionals, hopefully in companies, because that's really the critical next steps. It's building on those great ideas, those great advances that have been made, but making sure that business and those working for business set the right level of ambition so that we can really see the progress that is needed. We move in the right direction, but it's not yet enough. So we need these higher level goals to aspire for. And coincidentally, all research shows that once a company sets very high ambitions, set goals and targets that they don't know yet exactly how to meet, they don't know exactly how to get there, then that's another, you could say, the third ingredient required to stimulate creativity and innovation. So again, young professionals, they need a platform. You in the audience here, you need a much greater voice, a bigger platform to help companies move forward. And if you combine that with these greater ambitions, then at least I am very confident that we'll see a new generation of business leaders and a new generation of business that really can help us achieve sustainable development.
Thank you so much for being with us this morning, Ole Lund Hansen. Thank you for the empowerment, and also, I guess, maybe an extra motivation to set high ambitions for you as a young professional in the organization where you work. If the organization doesn't already have a high ambition, we need to pace up. Thank you so much. We'll ask for our next panel to come on stage, and thanks again. I can only give you a virtual applause, but I guess you could do this. If you're with us watching from any country, you could just give a virtual applause. You can type clap clap in the chat. And if we're talking about the chat, I saw some reactions to some of the things that I said. Sophia wants to emphasize that we're talking about experienced professionals. I will just say experienced professionals, and I will refrain from saying old professionals. I'm sorry. I'll just say it again. I'm sorry. And in the event chat I just mentioned, there's another button. If you're watching with us, you also see a button there that says polls. And we just ran a poll there to just ask if you work on the SDGs in your daily job. And so for at this moment, 50% of you says no. Well, it's 50% of the people that filled in the poll. So you can just go there and let us know during the next bit of the program. And I'm just going to head over to the script here and to see if we have everybody on stage with us. Our next panel, we're going to talk to some experienced leaders. I'm sure that this is the way they want to be addressed. But let's find out for ourselves. When we're going to talk to Jan-Willem Scheijgrond from Philips, Wineke Haagsma from PwC. It used to be PricewaterhouseCoopers, right? It's just PwC now. And we also have Maarten Biermans from the Rabobank with us. Welcome to you all to start. And I'm sure you'll also get a virtual applause. Everyone in South Africa and in Louisville are applauding for you. And welcome on our virtual stage this morning.
Thanks. Thank you.
Yes, I on purpose fell to a halt here to make sure that we have audio with you also. Let's just check off by getting to know how you are this morning, so that we are sure we have you all on the same page. Can we start with you, Wineke? And can we just be on an informal level? Can I just say Wineke to you? Because is your audio we isn't yet up to speed. Let's check if we can hear you.
You can do it, Wineke.
Yeah, my audio now?
Yes, we hear you now. Good morning. So, good to have you with us, and I'll just start with you as a courtesy to start with the lady at the table.
Thanks.
So how long ago was it when you were a young professional?
Sorry. I'll mute myself.
What you call a young professional, but I started my career 14 years ago.
I'm sorry?
14 years ago.
14 years ago. Well, this is exactly the point where I wanted to get. To what point would it be fair if we call ourselves young professionals, or should we just try to stay young professional the whole time? Is it just a mindset?
Well, I honestly hope that a part of me will always stay young professional, but of course it's the people around me and the young professionals to judge if that's still there. But I hope that we keep that mindset partly always there, yes.
Yeah, because Maarten, you were laughing very hard, but obviously I guess there could be a critical mass here voting for you to be one of the experienced professionals as well, not the young professionals per se.
Well, let me just come out of the gate immediately and say I'm not young, not anymore. I've got a lot of people at Rabobank who will claim that I'm not professional. So I'm just very grateful that I'm here. So I think I should stress that. So thanks.
And Jan-Willem, just to come to you as well. How would you describe yourself in your working life?
Well, not as young or old, but definitely professional, unlike Maarten. But I think it is also what's most important is I'm really happy with the work I do. I'm passionate about what I do, and I'm passionate that I felt that I could do something where I work on the SDGs in whatever I do. I don't actually work in sustainability. I head up the government and public affairs at Philips. But I found a company that is so motivated about the SDGs, has embedded it in everything they do, that I felt I'm completely at my place. And I think as long as you do what you enjoy, you'll stay passionate about that forever. So, just interestingly, we used to have a youth professional organization within Philips that created during the Second World War because they were bored, they couldn't do anything innovative, and it stayed on. And initially, it was like, you were young till you were 25, and then it was young till you're 30. And when I started at Philips, it was, okay, you extend it to 40. And then in the end, they gave up the age limit. They said, okay, you're always young. If you feel you're young, you're young. So that's how I feel.
Well, good to hear that. And I guess it was asking the question was answering it as well. And I saw Firas was very fast in the chat, also saying it's a mindset, be young-minded. And I guess this is it. I was talking, I'm sure you saw it with Ole Lund, and it was actually one of the topics I wanted to address as well, because if we come to the sense that we need to speed up, that we need to accelerate if we want to gain on reaching the SDG goals, then we need, let's say, young ideas or innovative ideas. Anything else but the things that are just repeating themselves over and over. Would you agree with that? I didn't ask it to someone in specific, but because let's go to Wineke first, because we're going to talk about all your organizations, not specifically about how the organization is functioning, but just to get an idea of how it is that you try to activate the young professionals in your organization and how you involve them in the SDG program. So could you say something about that, Wineke? How it is that you try to activate young professionals in acceleration of SDG integration?
Yeah, of course. Thank you, Lars. But I also would like to react actually to the results of the little poll you just had, because I was a bit, from one hand, pleasantly surprised, but from one hand a little bit disappointed maybe, because if 50% of the people is working on the SDGs, I would really challenge the other 50% towards your work is actually not contributing to the SDGs. Because in my mind, whatever you do, if you are procurement analyst or you are HR on the HR department or you are the CFO, everyone, I think the clue about sustainability is that actually everyone is contributing with everything you do. So whatever you buy in the shop, whatever you choose to deliver from your work on a day-to-day basis, everyone is working on the SDGs. So, but that's just a side note, but I just wanted to make that because it was, I hope at the end of this session, everyone will realize that they are actually working and contributing to the SDGs, and that it's a great opportunity for everyone, so that everyone would say, I am working on the SDGs, whatever you do in a company, or not working, that's also.
Well, that's interesting. I guess, doesn't this then come down to how the organization also presents their SDG ambitions and incorporates them within every workflow? Because yes. I know at Maarten at the Rabobank, I saw this wonderful year journal that you guys make, and pretty much all of your all of the operations were held against the SDGs, like on a measurement scale. I think it's even the annual report. That's pretty much yeah. And I guess this makes it pretty much impossible to work at Rabobank, no matter what's on your business card. If you're like the missus in the cantina or behind one of the desks, not to be working on the SDGs.
No, absolutely. And in that sense, what the SDGs are, well, I think they are, the role that they fulfill is give guidance to ambitions, actions. Instead of saying, well, we want to do good, or we want to show our contribution to society. Well, here you've got that template. Here you've got that framework. And this is how you can communicate about what it is that the company is doing that helps fulfill the promise of the Sustainable Development Goals. Now, at the same time, I should also point out, and this is something that we within the bank are also very actively looking at, is it's great to accentuate the positive, as the song goes, but you should also be very, very well aware, and this is also where the SDGs help, where you're operating counter to the SDGs. So it should be, and I see now more and more companies are approaching this more holistically. So I think Wineke is spot on saying, everybody's contributing to the SDGs, and just reflect on how that it is, what it is that you're doing, but be sure that it's a positive impact and not a negative one. So, but of course that goes without saying. Yeah. Now coming back to, just finishing up there. So what the SDGs has given us is a sort of a shared language to talk about non-financial performance. Which arguably is at least as important as the financial performance, and do so in a way that we can literally communicate across different sectors and across different regions. So in that sense, SDGs are indeed totally awesome.
And I guess for the young professionals in your organization, it's great news for the entire organization. If I hear this, and you can hear that I'm biased on this because I've studied how the Rabobank incorporated this, and I like it. So, but then if you're not that lucky as a young professional, how to go by that then? Because 50%, as Wineke just mentioned, 50% is not working every day on the SDGs, or they don't know that they are. So there are still a lot of organizations that maybe they have the SDGs on an agenda somewhere, or it's somewhere in the strategy. I know that Jan-Willem, you also at Philips have something of a movement on the SDGs, the Be the Change movement. So there's something organized there as well. Is it similar to how it's organized as the Rabobank, or totally different?
It's probably similar. I think whatever organization you're in, you probably have young professionals that look at each other and try to rally around the cause that is related to their work. So a couple of years ago, there was an initiative, grassroots initiative, Be the Change, at Be the Change. We know that from Gandhi, and it was completely grassroots and globally. People using the hashtag in our social media platforms at Philips, saying, okay, we want to develop ourselves as professionals. We want to develop, the sustainability performance of Philips, and we want to improve the company. How do we work together on activities? So they were organizing sustainability talks for young professionals around the world. They were organizing events, and it was all encouraged. But it also started with, I must say, with a leadership commitment, and that is great. If you were being empowered by the organization, it blossoms. Everybody feels empowered to go that. Now, if you don't have that, it's harder. I know. I've been there. One of my first job, I'm an environmental engineer by background, so I'm kind of the dinosaur of the SDGs time. So in the mid 90s.
Said it yourself, yeah.
In the 90s, at my first job, I was working in the UN office in Paris that I was working on environmental protection, and at that time, smoking cigars and cigarettes in the office was quite normal, which I found repulsive and disgusting, and we were not segregating waste as an environment program. So I started a petition and asked all my colleagues, should we ban this? And everybody thought it was a great idea. So I collected the signatures, sent it to the director, and said, you should stop smoking and you should start segregating waste because we have to lead by example. The next morning I got a post-it note from the director, said, if you're so unhappy about working here, we can help you work from home. So clearly I had maybe misread the enthusiasm of my colleagues and mistimed my efforts. Now, fortunately, I could stay after all, and after a little bit of crisis management. And in fact, it made me wiser about, okay, how do you do this? How do you change an organization that is not willing to change, or at least the top doesn't want to change? And so going back and finding yourself a mentor, in which case, a mentor to cry and to reflect on my future that was going to be wasted, was really helpful. And whether you look for a mentor that is there elder in your job, whether it's the youth community, it really helps you to channel some of that enthusiasm into more strategies that will actually work. And fortunately, afterwards, I made less mistakes.
I guess that we're on a sweet spot for this discussion, exactly, because obviously if you're in an organization that's a great example to others, like the organizations that you three represent, you could say that for a young professional, it's easy to step in. And obviously it's your mission to accelerate even, but you have like a running train that you can connect to. And it's much harder if like your description, if you come into a culture and maybe you're activated on the SDGs, but you come into a culture of an organization that surely isn't. I'm pretty sure that one of the questions, I see a lot of you joining us for discussion in the chat as well. Great. And if you've just tuned in, also, I see some people that came in a little bit late. Good to have you with us. And we're just having this a nice discussion here. And I saw a remark by Yikon Chen. And he said, I think a lot of the young professionals have the idea of sustainability in mind, but they are somehow not clear on how to maximize their impact. And I saw this and I immediately thought about your example, Jan-Willem, because I think even with this small example you gave of the non-smoking petition, no matter what's on your business card, what job description you have, you can start making changes within the organization at all levels. Would that be right? Would you agree on that? Wineke, I see you nodding, so I'll just go to you. That's a safe choice. Would you say that's fair, even if you're in an organization that's not like PwC as engaged already?
Yeah, I think a few things on that matter. I heard the beautiful quote last week from Martin Luther King, who was saying, if you can't do great things, I would say yet, but if you can't do great things, do things great. And I think that's a beautiful quote, because it's also my belief to accelerate also in the SDGs is to set on one hand, big ambitions and dream big. That's what I strongly believe. But then also, and that's the difficult thing, to translate that into very concrete examples, what you're going to change tomorrow or next week. And I think that, either or, but please, just start with the small examples, because lead by examples will make you a big leader. That's not about your title. And I also think that, looking back, if I look back to myself 10 years ago, I would advise myself to, because what I see in young professionals very often is that they have such a sharp eye on what is wrong with the system, and they should use that, and I was 10 years ago myself trying to use that sharp eye, and that fresh eye, if that's correct English as well, but to say what are the things which are wrong in the system, instead of bringing solutions to the table. And I think that when I started to bring solutions to the table, so to first come up with the, of course you see the problem, but then translate that into solutions. And the solutions can be big, the solutions can be small. But with solutions, you actually make bridges to the existing, leadership, to the organization, to your relationships, basically, to your stakeholders. And so I would really, advise myself, but also advise the young professionals here on the call, like, think about 3 S's. I would say, use your sharp eye, because you definitely have it, and you have it more than here the experienced professionals. Use your sharp eye, but do it with a sweet tone. So try to be sweet and to bring a solution on the table. And then last but not least, have a strong attitude, because what I see with a lot of young professionals is that they also doubt if they really bring value to the system, or value to the organizations, or value to the leaders. And I hope that a few of the young professionals, I think, in my team, and the interns are joining this morning as well, that I always give them the feeling that they really truly matter. I want to hear their voice, because they have a different lens and an extra lens, and only then we can thrive as an organization. So we need to how do you say that, to hear you, so be confident that you bring value to the table. So have a sharp eye, use a sharp eye, do it in a sweet way, bring solutions, and do it with a strong attitude.
That's a great. I'm just typing with you. Strong mind. Just put it in the chat to make sure that we remind it all together. And I think it's great. It's sort of like.
Can I just tag on to this, because I think it's great.
Yes,
great
Maarten.
framework, as we know, Wineke has always got these very good. But the sweet tone, I'm also trying to. I would also like to say to the young professionals, start with the sweet tone. But if it doesn't work, use the S of strength and just push them aside and just do it. That would I.
Yeah. And is this based on your working experience at Rabobank, Maarten?
Well, actually, in Rabobank, people are very receptive to the messaging. I'm very pleased to say, but in previous working surroundings, it's sometimes you just have to go head to head, and that's what I'm actually also like to convey to the people who are joining us here today, is that definitely start with a sweet tone, but we're fastly approaching the time where it's no more Mr. or Mrs. Nice Guy or Nice Girl. We now also need to deliver stuff. So I'm not calling here for a militant faction of SDG adherents, but sometimes you need to put a little bit strength in there.
Like the experience Jan-Willem mentioned,
exactly.
Because it wasn't a popular thing for you to go head on head with the all these colleagues that were still smoking in the office. Really? Yeah. So I guess when we're drifting to the end of this panel. I guess it's nice to from all of you to get maybe some more tips, because I'm just thinking that the young professionals that are watching today, and we put an extra poll there, people. If you're watching now, you haven't found the poll button. It's just on the side of the viewing the viewer here. the young professionals today at least are encouraged, or they want to do something with the SDGs. Otherwise, they wouldn't be watching right now. So what is it that you would like to give them for advice? That if tomorrow they go back, or even this afternoon, they go back to their own organization, they go to work, and let's say it's not the organization that is a warm SDG bath as the organizations that you're representing here today.
Okay, can I start?
Yes,
Can I
Maarten.
start, and then I'll leave the clever remarks for Wineke and Jan-Willem. If you want to make that change happen, you want to start today, just go to the CFO or go to the Treasury Department and say, hey, man, or hey, girl, you can make money with following the SDGs and reporting on that and showing it. Where sustainability is now part and parcel of the way companies are being financed. You got sustainability-linked loans, SDG-linked loans. So you talk to them, then you give me a ring, and we're going to make this happen. So if it's not through intrinsic motivation, we're going to help them a little bit. Intrinsic motivation always needs to be there, but there's so many other ways in which you can stimulate this. And I just wanted to, before I drop off, I saw one question from Sabine, I think, and she was asking, how do you know if you're successful with really letting the SDGs within the organization when you have been successful in that? And my yardstick is that when a colleague of mine who is not professionally involved in sustainability actually mentions the SDGs when in conversation with clients or themselves, that's when you have success. And I'm very pleased to say that this is happening more and more and more often.
Well, I think I say I like your activism, and the power comes through the screen. And then just to ask you for one extra remark, because then I saw this question from Orsun Ersungur. And sorry if I'm not pronouncing your name. I'm trying, but he's then asking if there is a difference when we think cultural and international context, because I'm sure maybe your direct approach and the organizations that you work for, that a direct approach would work. Is it your advice to try this just in any organization, or is sometimes the sweet tone that Wineke mentioned more appropriate?
Always start with what Wineke has said. I mean, that's definitely the groundwork. And if that doesn't work, you can always come. Or
Maarten is very talented. He gets away with everything, so that allows him to be bold in any organization. He gets away with it, and he's got a couple of skill sets that allow that. And so, if you're not that gifted, if you're not that lucky, adapt and observe. Clearly, in a very French hierarchical organization, that at the time that was not the right thing to do. I had not developed the skills yet to actually make it happen. But I agree. The strength and what Maarten also says, if you can get somebody else to advocate for you, if somebody else who's not in sustainability starts to talk about sustainability as an opportunity and take it from a bank, if you can make money with this, then you got the right angle. But also back to Wineke's point, don't get stuck in the problem definition, because the problem definition is the easiest part. Everybody knows what the problem is. It's not that we've been around and suddenly realize, oh, really? We have a problem with climate change? Really? No, everybody knows. It's the difficulty in solving it that gets it. And if you are coming up with the solutions yourself, you'll find out that your solution, and you start digging, is okay, maybe that's not the solution after all. So it really takes time. And then finally, I would say, I'm sorry, Wineke, for taking your thunder, it is you ask for forgiveness, don't ask for permission. So do push with your solutions. If you feel that things are not moving, become the activist that Maarten is. Push, but push with the solution, not with the problem definition. And if it doesn't work, then ask for forgiveness.
Well, that's I think great advice, but also I can imagine in some organizations people would be more anxious to try that out. So then you really have to bring out the activist in you. You have to dare to do this, dare to just push forward, and then ask for forgiveness. Wineke, to go to you for the final tip. Like Maarten said, we'll leave it up to Wineke to say the really smart things, and I hope that. The truth lies in combining all the tips of the three of you together.
yeah, I guess so. And that's, I think, the thing I would really, challenge everyone here on the call is to be yourself and stay yourself, and to stay through, very true to your own values, in combination with to be very sensitive to your environment. Because I think that question was very, accurate. We all have international roles, and I think, and we work with different people, and one leader is not another leader, and one young professional is not another professional. So stay very sensitive for your environment, and to be, as Jan-Willem also was saying, like adaptive to different surroundings. In one, country, a strong voice, and in another, works, and another, but stay true to your values. So you can do both. It's not either or. It's staying true to your own values, but do it the way you act or the way you try to thrive. You can always do that in a different way, and only if you're able to do that, I truly believe that that you can be a great leader. So.
Thank you so much. Wineke Haagsma, Director of Corporate Sustainability at PwC. Jan-Willem Scheijgrond, Global Head of Government and Public Affairs at Philips. And Maarten de Beuk Biermans, Head of Sustainable Capital Markets at Rabobank, for your tips, for sharing so openly and honestly with us. I'm sure that there's going to be a lot of clap, 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 clap in the chat. And that's the biggest applause that we can give you now. Thank you for being with us, and hopefully we'll meet with you again at some other, maybe even physical SDG event to empower each other even more. Thank you.
Thank you for the time.
Thanks a lot.
Bye. Thank you.
Stay safe, stay green.
And this is just me now talking to you in a few seconds while we get our next guests on stage. Gonna talk to some young professionals in 2 shifts. And first up, we're gonna talk to Piet van Rooyen, who works at Heineken, Roderick van der Brink, who works at Vrumona, and Sanne Reine, who works at the Volksbank. If you're tuning in with us from some international location, I'm sure that you get a hint that the organization behind today's event is powered by a lot of young professionals that are based in the Netherlands. So we have a lot of Piet van Rooyen and Roderick van Brinks here, a lot of Dutch names. We have you all on screen now. Great. So I can stop just jabbering and welcome you to the stage.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lars. Thanks for having us.
And this was my secret sound check. Sound all works. That's great. And let's just get to know each other a little bit, and get to know about the initiatives that you guys were responsible for at your organization. So Piet and Roderick, you work together, right? On initiatives. Who would like to tell a little bit about that? What you've done?
Yeah, sure. So I can start talking about, explain a little bit about the background of our initiative. So yeah, Piet and I together work at Heineken. So I work at Vrumona, which is a part of Heineken. But it was actually interesting to hear everything that was discussed in the panel before this, because it was really sort of the basis of our initiative. Because what we saw within Heineken is that sustainability is very important. It's high on the agenda, but for a large body of young professionals, it was very difficult to sort of get a grasp of how can they contribute. It always felt like something that was done by quite specialized teams, large budgets, big projects. And we discussed amongst our peers, and we continuously heard the same comment, how can I contribute? Only starting in a few years at Heineken, how can I contribute? So we thought, okay, we have these great initiatives, these large projects, we have this large body of young professionals who want to contribute. How can we link these two? And that was sort of the basis where we decided, okay, let's start a sort of a community. We called it the Young Green Stars. We started with a few people, but started building from that, and just basically tried to connect those two groups to spark new ideas, accelerate on existing ideas. And we also thought about how to structure this. So what we did was, we didn't want to be sort of a complete separate entity. We already had a Young at Heineken group within, or an organization within Heineken. So we said, okay, let's be sort of a part of that. Let's use the existing infrastructure that is already there. we let us be supported by some senior managers as sort of an advisory board, also to give it a bit more body, some credibility, and immediately already within our group have the linking pin between like more senior managers and the young professionals. And basically we just didn't spend too much time about thinking how are we going to start and what is this going to be. We just basically started and let it develop from there. And maybe it's good, Pete, if you could explain a bit more. We did have some initial thoughts what we wanted to achieve, but maybe you can better explain this.
Yeah, definitely. So I was going through it yesterday, and basically, in essence, we are, I think, focusing with the Young Green Stars on 3 things. As Roderick mentioned, there's a lot of really large-scale stuff going on at Heineken globally. So you could think of big solar panel installations on top of the breweries, or big water management projects, which are very interesting and cool, and definitely spark enthusiasm and a sense of pride at the company level. But they don't. It's difficult to really be part of that, you know. So we do want to share those initiatives as part of our Young Green Stars initiative, but more to really drive a sense of motivation and drive a sense of pride among the young people in Heineken. Then, if you go basically one step, maybe more pragmatic and more actionable, you could say, you know, there's ongoing business activities that we're doing on a daily level, and you could think. I was thinking about an example. You could think about the plastic cups at festivals. Today, there's not so many festivals going on. Hopefully, at some point in time, we're going to have them back. But Heineken is a supplier of those cups. What do we do? How do we work with those plastic cups? And what can young people that are not specifically, more, for example, in the marketing department, working with these festival organizers, how can you contribute with clever ideas that you've seen or heard somewhere around you? Really trying to support the way we deal with that. So there we really try to activate people, bring solutions to the table, and share them with the people that are responsible for those activities. And then on the lowest level, it's a bit about being very pragmatic. And we saw some comments, I think, already in the chat. It's about what can we start doing tomorrow, basically. What can we start doing now? And there we talk about very pragmatic things, carpooling, waste separation in the office, but also at home. Really those simple things that you could start doing right now, basically.
Yeah, because these are also questions that I've heard up front, and obviously we also saw them coming by a little bit in the previous discussion. So what can you do now? What can you do tomorrow? This is also about this isn't about big projects. This isn't about big things. So this is why I'm curious. And how did you even incorporate these things that you just mentioned? Were they part of your work? Your task, how you say that? Just, I'm not a native English speaker. You can hear that. Were they part of your? Yeah, that's it. Were they part of the job description, or did you just took extra time? You took overtime to do this. So how to literally start doing these type of things?
Yeah, Roderick.
As we just.
Yeah, a good one. And that was exactly the essence of our initiative. Like, if we look at the 5 people that make up the Young Green Stars, like the core group, they're all across the departments within Heineken, not specifically tied to like sustainability from a job description perspective. So it was just, we're all interested, everyone in any department can contribute. That was what we truly believe. And it was just basically, it wasn't that difficult to just start. We just said, okay, we're now with the 5 of us. Let's talk to a few senior managers, ask them if they want to support us. They said yes. And from that moment on, we were a group. The only thing we did, we have an internal network called Workplace, which is part of Facebook. And we just started a group and just started inviting people and asking young professionals, do you want to join? And then it was real. Then we were a group. And then we started moving towards really organizing events, et cetera, but it started by just asking a few people to support us, and from that moment on, we were a group.
Yeah, and maybe good to comment, Roderick, because you mentioned, I think, the events. What we did as a few of the first things actually in our, let's say, little group is organizing events in a very informal way, I would say, where we would invite, for example, one senior manager in Heineken to talk about the big sustainability agenda in Heineken, which is informative and interesting. Then we would bring in somebody that is on that slightly more pragmatic scale closer to us all. For example, the plastic cups initiatives. And we would really ask a question, or that person that would present the case would actually ask the question to the group of people in that event. What are your ideas? Go and grab a piece of paper and write down, what do you think you could help us with, right? And all of these people were not necessarily in sustainability, as Roderick was mentioning. We're just brainstorming. Everybody sees things happening around them, has ideas that might be able to contribute to solving the problem at hand.
This sounds also like you're keeping it very light impact for the organization. Like it's not going to cost a lot of hours. It's not going to ask a lot of permission from management layers to because this is something you just can do yourself. Yeah. I'm just on a practical side. I'm trying to get Sanne back into the room because we would love to hear also from the Volksbank. Hopefully we'll manage in just a second, and then so for now, what are your ambitions for the future? And let me just say as an extra note, we'll try to keep it brief. As soon as Sanne gets back online, we'll give her some speaking time as well. But I would love to hear about your ambitions.
I can start, and maybe Roderick, you can fill me in wherever you need it. What we really want to do, and we were actually already doing it in a way, or making all the required preparations, but then we got halted by this thing called COVID. But we found that there's 1.8 million plastic cups being used in the 5 offices that we have in the Netherlands. And we can basically do better on that, right? And especially now that we're all working from home, people are using their reusable cups. Obviously, everybody's using a porcelain mug or whatever, and they rinse it at the end of the day. Why don't we take that behavior and put it into the workplace as well? So now we're working on a project together with the facilities team and together with the sustainability team within Heineken, to try to replace all of those, stop actually using those throwaway cups and move into more sustainable solution with reusable cups. Roderick, I don't know if you have anything to say.
Yeah, so that's basically what we're doing now, but I want to emphasize, because I saw it a lot in the chat as well, that I think the critical point here is keep it small. Just target something that's really close by, and for us that was the paper cups that are being used in our offices, which is very strange to us if you have sustainability very high on the agenda, but you still use a lot of non-reusable cups in your own offices. But it can be anything, and I think that's the sort of the message we want to convey to basically everyone watching, that it's easier to start these kind of groups or initiatives than you might think. There's not a lot of analysis, process, structure, etc. You can choose something very close by, something very small. The main thing is just start and let it evolve from there. So maybe after this, we're going to tackle a bigger subject and bigger. You never know where it can go. But start small, learn from that, and then you can generate sort of energy from there. So yeah, that's basically what we're doing now.
And I guess it's interesting also if we come to the that's more like the group psychology way of looking at it. That if you're doing this with a group of professionals, it will attract maybe even those colleagues that weren't in touch with SDGs or weren't activated at all, because they just want to be part of your group. They just want to see what it is that you guys are doing together. And I guess it could be, it sounds like you've created a very nice Green Star movement. And I'm sure it goes along with a lot of beer. Or a non-alcoholic beer, yeah. So for now, it would have been great to talk to you more, but I just want to stay on the time frame a little bit. So I want to thank you guys. And unfortunately, Sanne wasn't able to join us, but maybe she'll be joining in later, as I'm going to go to the second group. Will you be staying with us for the rest of the event? Because it's nice if you want to ask any questions specifically to Piet van Rooyen or Roderick van den Brink to hear about their experiences. You also have a people button next to the viewer. I'm not sure if it's on that side. Or that side. I think it's on that side. So you can check out, you can find people, and we have a networking part a little bit later, or just find each other on LinkedIn, because we did a poll on the SDGs, and I saw obviously climate change scored very high. Myself, I voted for goal 17, as I think it's so important to be networking for the goals and to be sharing all these experiences, because we learned so much from something that's already been shown somewhere else. Like we've learned from Piet van Rooyen and Roderick van der Brink. Thank you very much, guys. And we're going to switch over to our next panel. Anna Palaudis from PostNL and Sophia Tillis from ING. Are you with us?
Yes. Morning.
Good morning. Good to have you with us. I'm sure you've been listening through the event as well. So did you take some notes? Was there something for you to learn already? Can I start with you, Anna?
Yes. I will get back to it later, but I don't remember his name, but he was talking about the sweet tone of voice you have to use sometimes. Well, I have to admit that I might not always use that sweet tone of voice during my work in order to achieve some goals. So maybe there are some differences between the older professionals and the young professionals, but I will come back to it later.
Okay, I'm very curious now. You have a great way to create a hook. We'll get to that later. Then let's go to you, Sophia. Something specifically that stood out?
Yes, I think the three S's that Wineke said, they were fantastic. But yes, indeed, as Anna said, it's not one size fits all. Some people, it's not natural to them to have the sweet tone. And as Wineke also said, that we should stick to what is natural to us. So if someone doesn't have naturally that sweet tone of voice, don't push for it. And that is fantastic, because you have kind of a guideline, but you shouldn't just stick to the frame. Otherwise, it's not natural. And if it's not natural, will not fly.
Well, that's beautiful, and I guess also more of a holistic way of looking at it, because there is always a risk that we, as young professionals, well, you all as young professionals, that you start the approach very practically, and we just want to go and have actions, but still you also have to stay close to what fits your person, which fits your personality. That's beautiful to just point that out. Thank you. And for now, I want to learn all about the projects and the initiatives that you did. So Anna, you decided to become the sustainability project manager. That's a big decision.
Yes. Well, I started 4 years ago at PostNL within a business traineeship, and my first position was as project leader change management, where I was responsible for guiding and creating a change within the HR department. And after that, I switched to a more commercial position where my job was more focused on marketing and communication within the retail environment. And after 2 years, I actually realized that, my perfect job was a combination of both worlds. But on one hand, creating a movement within the organization, but with a commercial focus. However, I also realized that, for me, some important things were actually missing in those previous jobs. I really wanted to create a positive change, creating positive impact. I was looking for a more startup scale-up environment where I had the availability to really create and to build together with a team, and where I could also utilize my own creativity. I also want to broaden my scope a bit more, so focus more on all the different stakeholders PostNL is involved with, so from clients to customers, governments, knowledge institutions. But I also wanted to show the Netherlands how PostNL is more than just a boring logistic provider. I really wanted to tell our story and show them that, where PostNL stands for, including our social importance. And I think last but not least, now I really realize that when I put on the news in the morning, the day-to-day topics always relate to my job. And well, maybe a little bit less during COVID times, but for example, discussions about climate change, the national governmental elections, the booming e-commerce sector, city logistics, sustainability. It really makes me feel that I add value in my job and contribute to making the world a little bit better. And that's actually where I decided to switch jobs, and now I'm a sustainability project manager at PostNL.
That sounds awesome, and because you really took action there, and I guess you just mentioned it, so then I dare to repeat it, that an organization, PostNL, I guess for our international viewers, you could compare it to FedEx or DPD or DHL. It could just have a dull image, and then a thing that I take out of this is even by just telling the story within the organization gets things moving. But it could also be an asset if people have to make a choice now for a more sustainable provider when it comes to logistics, that you offer them a choice, that you could be that provider because you have an answer to the sustainable story. So just a quick takeout, and we're just getting to know each other. And that's why I also want to just mention we have Sanne back online. Sanne from the Volksbank, good to have you with us. And we'll just have you incorporated in this panel. Feel welcome. And we were just getting to know each other, but also learning a little bit about what it is that you did at your organization. So Anna just shared this, and I was just curious about you as well. What project did you came up with, and why within the Volksbank?
Well, for me, it all started in a customer journey project. We were focused on how we could help our insurance clients that could not pay their insurance fee. And well, we decided as a behavioral psychologist, I would rewrite the payment reminders. So I started that project, and I really looked into this target group. I learned a lot about them, and I found out that financial problems have a lot of negative consequences, and it also takes a long time before people that have starting financial problems. It takes approximately 5 years before they ask for help. So I rewrote our payment reminder, and I gave them two options. I said, well, either you can pay, that is for the customers that forgot to pay, that happens also. But I also added a second option, and I said, well, if you cannot pay, please reach out to us and we can help find a solution. So that was actually the scope of my project, and then I was done. But I felt like, well, I'm not done, because what if people will start calling, and if we cannot really offer them a solution and help them, we will not make any impact at all. And that didn't feel right to me. And also, I don't think that is in line with the So I decided to broaden the scope of my own project. And I made sure now we can also offer payment arrangements. We can offer help of our financial coaches within SNS. So I also changed some processes and added some tools in this project to really make an impact. And well, you asked me why did I do that? Well, I really personally believe that you should not do things just for a better image. That doesn't give me any purpose, or it doesn't make me happy. I think we should really put our effort and our time and money in things that contribute to a significant change. And I'm very result oriented on average, but I think that was my motivation to broaden up the scope and do a little bit more than I was asked.
Wonderful. Well, and it's a coincidence that you're in this panel, but somehow it connects beautifully to the organization that you represent, Sophia. Working at ING, I'm sure it's not the same topic we're going to talk about, but when we're addressing poverty and the project that Anna was talking about, it's nice to hear from a financial institute as that you work on. Could you tell us a little bit about what you did there?
Yeah, actually, my take on the sustainability development goals was more to connect with a network outside of ING. Why did I do that? So I've been working in procurement for over 10 years, and over this time, I've been doing lots of sustainable projects that were related to my scope. But I worked with companies that made products, so I could actually link on, compensating the carbon footprint, planting trees to, offset the transport and these kind of things. But when I joined ING, I looked and I said, well, actually, we don't have, buying of products, so it's kind of a bit more difficult to grasp. And then I looked, and they already do so many great things in the sustainability focused on our clients, and also the other part of my heart on the diversity and inclusion. They are also doing so very well. And then I was like, okay, what else can I do to bring value? So I found the United Nations Global Compact Young Professionals Program, which is the one that we are now organizing this event. And then I said, wow, it is great to be able to connect with other young professionals and, learn more about the SDGs and make something happen and deliver a project that can make these global goals that are so big turn into a more local and tangible matter. So that is what I did. Ever since I joined ING, I joined this amazing group of inspiring professionals to make something happen regarding to the SDGs.
I really like what you're saying to bring the SDGs that can be like a little bit overwhelming and big and far away, to making them to something that's close by and reachable. And I really like that example. As we're acknowledging that pretty much what we're doing right now is inspiring other people with all these tips, with your examples. And obviously, we always have too short of time to listen to the full depth of the product that you did. So then I'm just curious if someone is inspired now by either your project, Sanne or Anna or Sophia, and they want to start their own project, which is going to be totally different, obviously, as they work for a different organization. Is there a learning or a tip that you would like to give them? Something that maybe you did wrong, and first you learned from it. I see Anna. Yeah. Give us some insight in that. We only have a couple of minutes left, so let's make sure we all get you to speak a little bit more.
Well, I think we talked a lot about clear results and delivering clear projects. And within my role in the beginning, I was really responsible for telling our story and sharing our vision in order to, show stakeholders how PostNL as a thought leader drives a sustainable movement within the industry, but also kind of control politics and our stakeholders, let them adopt our vision, understand their needs and wants. So it was a lot of talking. And I found it very difficult in the beginning to not really see the clear results from all those dialogues I had conducted. So I always want to go fast. But I also learned that I have to, take my time and trust that the investments you make will deliver results after maybe some months and not directly after one conversation you had with, for example, the ministry or a council from a state. So take your time.
Okay, thank you for that. Sophia?
Well, I can say that I have lots of examples of projects that didn't go as I was expecting, but I think the closest one is when we started our group in the young professionals, we had a scope and we were, building that project. But it was a project that would require in-person contact. So it was a kind of workshops for small and medium companies. And then we got hit by COVID. And it took us a bit of time to actually adapt to the new reality as a group, as a team. And that it took us a while to realize that we had to rethink our scope, because we couldn't know when or if we could do workshops in person. So our resilience was not that big. So we spent a couple of months a bit lost on the blue. But then finally someone started calling us and say, one of the teammates started saying, okay, we need to get back in track. So that's how we fought together and we said, okay, we need to change our project. The project that we were planning, we cannot do at this moment. So yeah, that's, for me, it was a bit hard for us to admit in the beginning that we had to give up all the work that we had already started in that one and start something from scratch. But sometimes you have to do, sometimes the circumstances, they change and you have to start again.
Well, thank you. That's also a very valuable lesson. Just get yourself up and keep going. We have to come to a conclusion, but not before we hear the final learning and tip from Sanne. Just a short tip from you for all our viewers, all our young professionals that want to get into action.
Well, I think most important is to be brave and just try it. If you have a solution, if you think you can do better, well, try to see if it works and talk to your manager, talk to your colleagues, talk to other young professionals in your organization. Show them how intrinsically motivated you are and why you think you can do better and your organization should do better. I think that is contagious, and if you never try it, you will never know if it will actually work. So I think that is the first step. You should really do that.
I love that tip. Be brave. Quote by Sanne Reine. Thank you all for your tips. Unfortunately, we have to go. I see Anna wanted to say a little bit more. We have to go because otherwise the breakouts will be shorter and they are so interesting as well. So I would just like to thank you, and hopefully that you're available for some questions that people might have directed to you or directively to you. I saw that Maarten Arning is one of those people who want to know about how making results within the company tangible. So have that discussion in the networking part of this program. And for now, just thank you so much also for complying with us with this short amount of time that we had available for you. Sanne Reine, Anna Paulides, and Sofia Telles, thank you so much. And now I'll turn to the viewers to make sure that we're only here for a couple of seconds. You have to go to one of the sessions. In the menu, you see the sessions, and go to one of our wonderful breakout sessions. They will take time up to 10 to 11, and then we get back to the plenary stage for a closing, and I give you the chance to learn something about the other sessions that you weren't attending, because you could have to choose one of the sessions, but I'll make sure that you learn something from the other sessions as well. So go to SDG Young Leaders Board, go to Hugo van Meijenveld and Denise. They have a wonderful session about SDG Ambition. You'll find the sessions. I'll just stop talking. Go there right now, and I'll see you back 10 to 11. Yes, and welcome back, everybody. Hopefully, you've had a great session just yet. And we do understand that it's probably, for your feeling, it was a short session on the topic that you were talking about, whether it was with the SDG Young Leaders Board or with Hugo van Meijenveld or the Sustainable Leadership for a Future Success. Obviously, on these topics, you would love to talk more, like for hours and stuff, but we haven't got that time for this program now. And what we wanted to do is to to literally just make you enthusiastic and hungry for more. And hopefully we're doing just that. At this time, I'm waiting for a couple of guests to do the closing with. And these were guests that were in one of the sessions that you were not. Because you had to make a decision, you had to make a choice, and that's why I've asked Richard Bloemheuvel and Jorik Schut and Garia Borneman to be kind of reporters for you in the session. So they're going to be with us and sharing some of the takeouts that they've learned there. As we're waiting for them to join us here, I just want to mention that obviously, after this meeting, when you've gotten hungry and wanting for more, we're not going to just leave you like that. We want to emphasize you that there's going to be a digital toolbox available for you, and this is going to offer you a lot of handy bits and tricks to start your own SDG project and to start working on the SDG ambition that you have yourself. I was interested in the reactions that I saw on the poll a little bit earlier today, where we asked if your organization has an SDG initiative. And we were enthusiastic about 53% of you saying yes, and I'm part of it. Obviously, we hope the best for 24% of you that said yes, but I'm not part of it yet. And we were very psyched by 7% of you that answered no, but I'll start one. And this is exactly the ambition that we want to trigger today. And I take a look at my screen and I see that Richard, Jorik, and Garia are here with me. Richard working at Heineken, welcome. Jorik works at Philips. And is it Garia or with a heart?
It's Chiara.
Gita. Oh, then we're going to fire someone for putting the name wrong in the script. I'm so sorry for that. Good to have you with us. And so we asked you to just share some short takeouts of the session. Obviously, we're not going to ask you to give us an entire repetition of the lecture that you were at, but we're just curious. Richard, can I start with you? You were at SDG Ambition.
Yeah, that's good. So I would like to start with to recommend to everyone that could not attend the breakout session on the SDG Ambition hosted by Hugo and Denise to watch it back, because we are recording everything, as well as the other breakout session that you could not attend. So why watch back the SDG Ambition breakout session? Firstly, this was a very interactive session that gave brief insights in what the SDG Ambition is and into the 17 SDGs, but especially on how to translate them into implementing them into companies. So the SDG Ambition provides accelerator initiatives and insights to be used. Also, it gives guidelines for measurements and methodologies to track results. So that's a good take on. Secondly, it is important to note, this was something that Hugo mentioned, that all the SDGs are linked together. I think we already spoke about this this morning. So watch out that an improvement in one of the SDGs can have a negative impact on the other ones. So try to search for that perfect balance. Lastly, to add one more thing, lastly, it is important to work together. So not try to fix everything yourself. You can do one action, a big bang yourself, but you can also activate 1,000 other ones. And I think the last thing that is interesting to share with you guys is start small, understand how your company works, and use existing materials that are available on the internet.
Well, it sounds like a good promotion to go and check out that session if you weren't there, to just try to look at in the replay. Jorik, we lost you for a second, but you're back with us. Tell us a little bit about sustainable leadership is future success.
Yeah, hi. Can you hear me? I think I should be I should be heard now. Sorry, had some issue. So we had a session about sustainable leadership and future success, and one of the key topics here was really how to gain insights in the characteristics and actions that are needed to be that sustainable leader. And one of the things that also really struck out and was really important is really to look into that organization and to enable also the organization to let these young people strive and reach out. And this can be done, for example, by really setting up educational backgrounds and educational platforms to let them grow, which was very interesting and also very exciting to see without and through the group. Also, this being back, and that as well. Next to that, we also.
Oops.
We lost him.
Hopefully you're okay. It's just the internet connection that we're lost, right? Well, just for the sake of time, we go to you, Chiara. You were at the SDG Young Leaders Board. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, exactly. Yes, thanks, Lars. So Orchun and Mart told us more about the Young Leaders Board, which has been established recently by the UN Global Compact Netherlands. And they will start mainly first in the Netherlands, but their goal is really to create a global movement of young leaders. And how they want to do it is through engaging young leaders, educate them about the SDGs, and then, of course, empower them within the organizations. So there are different ways in which they could do it. They're still figuring out a little bit what actually is needed. So the session was also very interactive and asked the audience what they thought that were the main challenges to achieve the SDGs in the organization. And then we heard from the audience that there is not enough cooperation, or it's not a strategic priority. There is lack of change, and the quality of the supply chain of the operations as well. Maybe it's not really contributing positively to that. So how they can help was also asked. And in that, I've seen mainly the answers were networking events, discussion groups, workshops, but also trainings on sustainable leadership and community building. So I think overall we will see more as a follow-up to this event, what they will develop as their service to us as young leaders. So it will be possible also to sign up to their newsletter that will be announced, or you will have contacts to do that with the follow-up email from this event.
Yeah. Well, that goes without saying. It's important to have follow-up in any way matter that's possible. One of that is also by keep sharing your insights of today, like you, Chiara, and Richard, you've done now, and Jorik did as well. At least he tried, because obviously two can hear more than one, and that goes without saying that even for more like the couple of 100 people that we have with us today, you sharing all these insights, which is kind of working on one of my favorite SDGs, 17, networking for the goals, because there's so much that's already been invented, been tried out. A lot of you already made some errors and came back from that. And to share this, I guess, is empowering each other even more to do great things within the organizations that you guys represent. I want to thank you so much, you three of you, also for complying with us and working with us for this just a short takeout. Thank you so much. It must have been a hard task.
Thanks to you, Lars.
Yeah, Jorik Schut at Philips, hope you can hear us, and Chiara Borneman from Phoenix Capital. This brings us to the conclusion of the plenary part of this program, which means we're going to begin with the networking session on Hopin, and it's going to be fun. The networking option we have here is it's kind of like speed dating. The time limit is 4 minutes for each conversation. So if you want to talk more, you'll have to do that after this event. But it's a really energetic way of talking a little bit more with each other. I hope that you've liked the program so far, that you stay with us for the networking bit. I hope that you like this format. I want to congratulate the organization, the SDG Ambition group that made this all happen. Good job. Thank you for inviting me. It was my honor and privilege to be part of this program, and hope to see you all again on an online event or a physical event. Let me know if you need an SDG-minded host or presenter somewhere. And for now, good luck with the networking. See you later.